Today is 11th of September 2025, and welcome to the section Biophysics of Consciousness and DNA Resonance, Biophysics of Consciousness and DNA Resonance at Consciousness 2025 conference. And this is going to be about the various aspects of biophysics and consciousness, and including DNA. So, Irene Caesar, please introduce yourself and tell about yourself.
First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of the World Congress Theoretical Systems, so Systems Theory, Algebraic Biology and Artificial Intelligence, and the organizer of this section, Dr. Max Mekishev-Rempel, for inviting me to give the speech in Refractional Entanglement for the remote management of biosystems. I am the author of the Fundamental Theory of Wave Optics and Chromosomes, 1985, and the Refraction Code by Holography, and technology based upon this refractive entanglement in wave optics of chromosomes, and the founder and president of the American company Wave Genome LLC, incorporated in Connecticut in 2010. DNA wave optics provides the theoretical basis for the remote management of biosystems via remote biholography. It has implications for the national security and is the cornerpoint of the so-called third quantum revolution. Wave Genome LLC develops technology of remote biholography. And Wave Genomes LLC biholography is based upon the refraction code and refraction entanglement of wave optics in the scalar wave diffraction grating. I had created the fundamental theory of DNA wave optics in 1985, long prior to anybody in the field of bioholography, based upon my unified theory of wave crystals. The unified theory of wave crystals states that the quantum nonlocality, zero field, as a singularity, non-local in time and space, is the systematic whole, organized as the wave crystal, that is the tetrapole, scalar wave diffraction grating, with the paired inverse refraction based upon chirality towards one and only zero center of the zero field, the focus of the quantum nonlocality, one and the same for chromosome and galaxy. Information in wave crystals is propagated not via some vector signal of vector mathematics or electromagnetic field of quantum physics or regular physics. Vector signal of the electromagnetic nature specifically, but instantaneously and remotely via the refraction towards the focus of the wave crystal of the quantum nonlocality, the zero center of the zero field, with this zero center being one and the same for chromosome and galaxy. The central axiom of my fundamental theory of wave crystal is the axiom of the refractional entanglement instead of quantum entanglement. The axiom of the refractional entanglement is based upon the holographic axiom. The world is 93% energy and only 7% particles. This energy exists in accordance with the holographic axiom, which states that the entire being is contained in its every matrix point. According to the holographic axiom, every matrix point is non-local in time and space and is a systematic whole containing the infinite number of waves, particles, and fields. This is the axiom of non-locality. Thus, every matrix point cannot be defined by any finite value or parameter, such as a particle, wave, and field, or any set of finite values, as well as by such derivatives of finite values as wave matter, the quantity of energy with no mass or matter wave. The implication of the holographic axiom, stated by me in August of 2012, states that if the being is entirely in its every matrix point, then every matrix point is not simply different from any other matrix point, but is unique. This can be called as the axiom of non-local uniqueness of the implication of the holographic axiom. So every matrix point is both non-local and unique. Matrix points differ from each other by their unique refraction codes. And if we have two copies of the same non-local and unique wave matrix, we can transmit information between these two copies remotely and instantaneously, because in the quantum nonlocality, where there is no space and time, they constitute one and the same systematic whole. Thus, the entanglement between two copies of the same non-local and unique wave matrix is not the quantum entanglement, but the refractional entanglement. Here comes the axiom of the zero signal. The fractional entanglement is the zero signal, or the holographic signal, non-local in time and space. The zero signal cannot be defined by the principle of locality in time and space. The non-locality of the zero signal implies that every matrix point is both uncreated and indestructible. Thus, no artificial neurons or artificial neural links, which are created and thus finite, can be in principle defined as matrix points capable of zero signal. The same is true of any artificial computational chromosome or any artificial DNA or any artificial microorganism or organism. Science based upon notions incapable of accessing the zero field is doomed for failure. Thus, we should define the matrix point and the zero signal and create the zero signal technology based only upon the wave optics and refractional entanglement theory. The matrix point axiom. The matrix point is the systematic whole capable of A, procreation of oneself as a whole, that is the female gender chromosome, B, capable of being conscious of the infinity and all its implications. The matrix point is capable of procreation of oneself as a whole, precisely because it is capable of being conscious of the infinity and its implications. Conditions for the matrix point. Scalar wave diffraction grating is created by a coherent signal with permanent frequency, which is long enough to be scaled to get the scalar wave diffraction grating created from macro to micro dimensions and vice versa ad infinitum, thus creating refraction. Annulment axiom of the zero field. Each segment has its own resonance frequency, which is annulled by the scalar wave when the peak of the forward-going wave is nullified by the trough of the same wave when this wave is reflected back upon itself. Again, the holographic or zero signal cannot be described simply as any electromagnetic signal or the limited structuralist theory of isometry, such as fractal theory, which cannot account for the uniqueness of each fractal in the systematic whole. The chirality axiom. The linear isometry of the fractal theory cannot also account for the tetrapole inversion of the signal by the scalar wave. The inversion of the signal by the scalar wave is defined by the chirality axiom. I repeat, in the wave crystals, including chromosomes, information is transmitted not by some finite linear signals with certain electromagnetic parameters, but remotely and instantaneously, with no limits in time and space, via refraction towards the focus of the wave crystal, with the focus zero center being one and the same for chromosome and galaxy. That is, information is transmitted via focus of the quantum nonlocality as the wave crystal, the zero center of the zero field. The chirality of the zero field axiom. The quantum nonlocality zero field is the ultimate wave crystal with the two paired concave lenses inverted in relation to each other. Clear vision and regeneration are possible only when brain is in the theta brain wave state, which is a scalar wave, with every segment of the scalar wave diffraction grating focusing man's unique refraction code down to a chromosome. The same gene gets expressed in the functional individuals and species via metacentric chromosome, which is like equilateral cross and analogous to the well-centered and focused eye crystal. And the same gene gets expressed in the dysfunctional individuals and species via acrocentric chromosome, which is half of the metacentric chromosome, and is analogous to the far-sighted or nearsighted eye out of focus. The same gene in apes is expressed by the acrocentric chromosome, and in humans by the metacentric chromosome. The same gene is expressed by acrocentric chromosome in the wild horses, which are like donkeys, and by metacentric chromosome in the domesticated horse, which is superior to the wild horse by its physical and cognitive abilities. Children with Down syndrome differ from normal children by the presence of extra acrocentric chromosome. Male gender chromosome is acrocentric. That is degenerative and dysfunctional. That is why males are incapable of giving birth. And female gender chromosome is metacentric, that is functional and regenerative. That's why females are capable of giving birth. Chromosomes function as lenses, literally changing their shape like our eye crystal, and so their aperture of their scalar wave diffraction grating to receive information remotely and instantaneously via the quantum nonlocality zero field. The structural damage in chromosomes is the major cause of the disease. Thus, the neural and genetic engineering should not be allowed to go along the path of inflicting the structural damage to the systematic whole of the matrix point. Since every matrix point has its own unique refraction code, including a functional chromosome, the future of the 4P medicine, personalized, preventive, predictive, and participatory, belongs to the bioholography based on lasers, which are the only devices producing a coherent signal needed for creating the scalar wave diffraction grating. Using various lasers, Wave Genome LLC develops and produces the wide array of the generators of the form for optimizing the wave optics of chromosomes in the analog and digital form. Thank you very much for your attention. Questions are welcome.
Irene, questions? Anybody? I guess my main question is something about quantum sensors and artificial intelligence connected to consciousness and DNA. Specifically, what practical applications do you see around, especially commercial products? What should we pay attention to?
My company is a very successful business enterprise, and before the war, military special operation, the monthly profits were in 6 digits. So, and my company is not simply does research and development, it does production of devices that enhance the wave optics of the brain wave activity, the wave optics of chromosomes in the brain, which works with the refractional entanglement for the digital bioholographic pharmacies. The company that produces devices both in digital and analog form as generators of the form for creating the scalar wave diffraction grating, with specific application of unique client's unique refraction code. So every client has his own or her own refraction code. So to apply the so-called 4P, preventive, personalized, predictive, and etc. medicine, participatory medicine, we need to work with clients specific, unique refraction code. So we need to develop or to have, as a company, a commercial company, we need to have devices that are capable of reading and recording clients' individual, unique refraction code. It is possible only via lasers. In the 21st century paradigm, our ancestors, they used the analog form using the operators, so some specific person, right? Because humans are, humans are like lasers, and there are humans that are even better than lasers. So our ancestors used operators who were fasting to avoid introduction of superfluous homologous nucleotides to the chromosome, so that these superfluous homologous nucleotides will not destroy the structure of chromosome, because chromosome is literally a lens. So it's a lens with this refraction code. And so they were not eating meat, pork was forbidden, casual sex was forbidden, sex for procreation was limited by ritual and procreation itself, incest was forbidden, homosexuality was forbidden. So all processes that were introducing superficial extra nucleotides to the chromosome, which is supposed to have a precise number of nucleotides, no more and no less, and in a specific geometric configuration. So this introduction of superfluous homologous nucleotides was limited. These people were called saints. In Russian, it's святой, the person who emits light. So the person who is capable of focusing light. So this person was fasting. He was or she was avoiding these activities. Also, this person was applying electrets, which are generators of the form which produce the scalar waves. And these electrets are polymer crystals, precisely polymer crystals of the animal origin, such as fat from bears, geese, and other animals, of insect origin, such as propolis, from minerals, such as shilajit, mumio, from plants, and all Ayurveda, all natural medicine, folk medicine is based upon electrets. And they were eating electrets, drinking electrets, applying electrets on their body. So here comes the ritual of mummification. So these people were mummifying themselves during the lifetime. So you cannot become a high priest without all these conditions. So become an operator to record and transmit the refraction code of the refractional entanglement and control by systems and other people remotely, instantaneously. So you should go through all these rituals. And they were applying electrets in the liquid crystal form. That's how we got this notions of God-anointed king, or to anoint for the kingdom. The king was anointed with the frankincense. Then our ancestors applied electrets in the aerosol form. That's how we burn the incense in the churches, burn the frankincense, and then the solid crystal form. Every Russian man or woman was wearing ladanka. Ladan is a frankincense, is a pendant with the solid resin polymer crystal of frankincense inside this ladanka. Besides this, they were praying. Prayer was the ritual of putting your consciousness into the theta brainwave state. Rosary, when a Muslim is doing his or her rosary and saying Allahu Akbar, or Christian who is doing his rosary and saying God is Christ is King, and etc. The prayer. And this is simply the way of putting one's brain into the theta brain wave state. These people also were living in the dwellings, houses, which were the generators of the form of the scalar wave. They were living in the cupola ceiling rooms, houses. And these houses had domes, the bells, they were ringing the bells. And, Nepalese Buddhist monks, they are putting this, I'll show you, they are putting this huge singing bowls on their head. This. So with this simple procedure, analog procedure, you can get out of the very serious medical conditions almost within 5 minutes. It's like a miracle. It's proven by experience. They were living the life which had the morals, social code based upon scalar wave. Do not do upon others the things you do not want to be done upon yourselves. So it's the whole system. So our ancestors, they used humans, specific humans, who were putting themselves into the state of being the generator of the form for producing the scalar wave diffraction grating.
Irene, can you tell us what frequency the bowl should be?
This is the whole point. It is not about frequency. The initial frequency to initiate the scalar wave diffraction grating should correspond with its wavelength to the size of the resonator to get refracted back upon itself. This is the whole thing. But our ancestors, they created the generators of the form in such a way that this, I don't have the bell here. So this generator has different diameters. You see, each diameter corresponds
different frequencies.
To its frequency, to a specific initiating frequency. Anyways, the golden rule is we have 5 senses, right? So if you hear the sound, this already means that you are capable of inversing the sound to create a scalar wave. This is the golden rule. So you should not go after the frequency. You should go after the generator of the form. So you create your analog generator of the form or digital generator of the form, but the digital should have again all the characteristics of being the generator of the form. And these characteristics consist of 2 major parts. First, you have the resonator, which is capable of inverting this initial signal, reflecting it back upon itself. But again, as I told you, if you hear it, you already are capable of doing it, right? And then the second part of the generator of the form is that you should have a conductor or semiconductor that doesn't allow the scalar wave to get extinguished, because it gets extinguished. It's a crystal. We use sugar and salt to preserve vegetables, fish, meat. Why? Because crystals, they produce scalar waves, and scalar waves annul the waveforms of viruses and bacteria, you see? But if you consume too much crystals, it's not good for you. And they also scalar waves, they extinguish themselves. So you should always have the conductor and semiconductor as a part of your generator of the form for the scalar wave diffraction grating.
Any more questions?
Yes, may I ask?
Please go ahead.
It is very interesting, but of course it needs a lot of additional study because very complicated. My question is about chirality. You were talking about chirality. so as we understand, that's optical purity, L and D and so on. Do you mean this meaning of chirality, or you were talking about some other?
Chirality is the structural parameter. You see, my theory, the structuralist theory, better described in the classical terms as Aristotelian basically theory. It's a structuralist theory. So in chirality is a structural term. We have vectors, we have so-called scalars, right? And chirality is a mirror, it's a mirror parameter, is a parameter of a mirror, inversive reflection. It's a reflection that inverses the geometrical optics, you see.
I see. Because when you begin to speak about chirality, I, as biologist, begin to think about the very sophisticated problem of optical purity in biology. There is no, in all living systems, have very optically pure amino acids and carbohydrates. The first are only L, others are only D. And this is the indication of a living state, well, which was discovered by Pasteur. The major question, what is the origin of this optical purity? Because it is 900% optical purity in living matter of biomolecules. So what is the origin? Because in non-living in matter, there is no such purity at all. When we die, our molecules begin to racemize, racemic, yes. L transforms into D, D into L, and so on. Does your theory can it explain this, for example, or suggest something about the origination of this optical purity? It has to do with all molecules, and also not only on the monomer level, but when we are talking about DNA maybe it is spiral, and it has also optical purity, and higher levels of organization also have optical purity. Did you think about this in your theory?
Well, I would like to make an offer to write a paper together on this optical purity.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
You can take email from Max and connect with me, and we can. I'm regularly publishing in this Сибирская академия, в открытой академии.
Okay.
Каждые 3 месяца публикую. Давайте там спокойно опубликуем. And to answer your question, of course, the whole point of my speech was to prove that human is a measure of everything. So it's this anthropocentric view of the ancients was completely correct. You see, and the divine nature of man and divine rights of man, they're all scientific notions, you see. And the closer we get to the zero center, the more of the optical purity we get.
Okay, I agree.
Thank you, Irina. Thank you, Vladimir.
May I ask a question also?
We are running out of time, but go ahead.
Just 2 simple questions. Hi, Irina. We have been talking. I'm Anna. We didn't meet, but yes, with Glenn. It was wonderful presentation. I admire what you're doing, and just I'm your big fan. But my question is about clinical trials, which probably have been done, if you tell just briefly, on a living system such a multidimensional cells like and one layer cells and in vivo and in vitro. It's number one. And number two, I'm very curious about matrix city. And would you please tell us?
Mm-hmm. Well, I have produced one clinical trials because it's complicated, very expensive, but I have produced it on a very high level with the Bauman State Technical University, which is the largest and most important university in Russia of MIT level, using lasers, which are newly, at that point, newly invented lasers, and the mathematical paradigm for this experiment was produced by the same scientist who produced the mathematical paradigm of the trajectories for the new Russian middle range missile caliber. And the experiments, the clinical trials were for aspirin, holographic aspirin. And so the biohologram of the aspirin was recorded by the laser and administered via digital holographic aspirin, and as the generator of the form, electrode-based chip applied to the applicants 24/7 with successful results. And these successful results were published recently in 2025 by the peer-reviewed scientific journal.
Wow. Oh, can I, maybe I'll just email you because I would like, because I read your articles, but I couldn't find, some answers which I had in my head. Yeah. It would be nice to try it on living organisms and cells, especially, yeah. And about matrix.
I'm very open to any kind of, joint mutual experiments on the American soil, because the Wave Genome is an American company, and I'm not going to transfer it anywhere else from the United States. And in regards Matrix City, it was the Matrix City Consortium with the Institute for National Security in Moscow. And these were the people who actually employed Garyaev in the end of 1990s. So these were those people who had this aura section within the huge научно-производственное объединение in Russia, scientific research enterprise energy with 5,000 Soviet scientists. And these people conducted the remote transfer of insulin much prior to Garyaev for the American Diabetic Association. They administered digital insulin 20 kilometers, over 20 kilometers to the diabetic calf successfully, and so on and so on. So this Matrix City was the consortium, Matrix City, and from that time on, the only thing that I did for this concept, I built the house with a huge cupola, 7-meter diameters, and 3.5 meters high, perfect hemisphere, and this is, and so basically I built the huge generator of the form.
Unbelievable! I wish I could come there.
Welcome. Yeah, it is by me too. So, yeah.
So it's kind of quantum teleportation or something like that. Yeah.
Teleportation, right?
It just like sounds wow, bravo. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words.
Thanks, Irina. Thank you very much.